All right, welcome to the deep dive. We're here to, cut through the noise and dig into some really fascinating topics. And today, we're jumping headfirst into something pretty fundamental for all of us, really. It's about what really constitutes the right skills for success in, well, today's complex world. We've gathered some compelling sources for this, and I'm genuinely excited to explore the answers they reveal. They might surprise you.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Because it's easy to think we know what skills matter. But the truth is our sort of traditional understanding, it's really undergoing a profound transformation. This deep dive isn't just about listing traits. It's more about challenging some, let's say, deeply ingrained assumptions and looking at what's genuinely helping people and businesses to, not just survive, but really thrive. We want to unpack why certain abilities are becoming so crucial.
Exactly. That's the mission here, to unpack this really pivotal shift. For decades, the focus was pretty squarely on technical stuff, what you know, right? Very specific, measurable things. But our sources point towards a powerful evolution, more towards human connection and understanding. And grasping this gives you a really powerful new lens for, well, both the professional path and your personal growth. So let's dig in. For a very long time, if you looked at almost any industry, there was this kind of undisputed king. Hard skills, think about it, tangible expertise like skills in maths, software engineering, finance, even surgery. These were the assets that, historically topped the list. Got you hired, got you promoted. It was all about what you could do concretely. Put it on a resume, quantify it.
Absolutely. And look, those hard skills, they are still critical, no question. We definitely need brilliant engineers, expert coders, sharp accountants, all of that. But there's been this growing realization. It's undeniable, really. The landscape's shifted. What we often call soft skills, working well with others, leading without just ordering people around, negotiating tactfully, building relationships. These aren't just nice to haves anymore.
Right. They're becoming foundational.
Exactly. Foundational. Essential even for sustained success pretty much everywhere. Especially now with automation and AI handling more routine technical tasks. The uniquely human stuff, complex problem solving, collaboration, genuine innovation that's becoming more valuable.
And right at the heart of this shift, emerging as a real game changer, is something our sources call emotional intelligence, or EQ. Now, for ages, IQ was the big metric, wasn't it? The main way we judged cognitive ability, raw intellect. But our sources, they're making a really bold claim. EQ is becoming the new benchmark for the new world.
Yeah.
So I guess the question is, what makes it so revolutionary now, with all this tech advancing?
That's a great question. The why now is key. Okay, so if we define emotional intelligence, one source puts it quite elegantly as the ability to understand and control your emotions and recognize and respond to those of others. It's this blend, you see. Self-awareness, knowing your feelings, why you feel them, and self-management, regulating those feelings. But it doesn't stop there. It's also social awareness, reading the room, basically. And relationship management, how you navigate those dynamics effectively.
Okay.
So to your point about why now, in a world where information is everywhere and AI can augment many technical tasks, what makes us different? It's our capacity for human interaction, for nuanced understanding, for collaborative problem solving. High EQ lets you adapt, lead with empathy, resolve conflict, build trust, things AI just can't replicate. And our sources really hammer this home. High EQ makes you more likely to be powerful, successful, and have fulfilling relationships. It's about the whole picture.
Powerful, successful, and fulfilling relationships. That is a compelling package, isn't it? And yeah, the sources don't mince words, calling EQ the single most important and effective business and personal skill of the new century.
Yeah.
That's a huge statement. It makes you pause. It suggests this isn't just like a minor tweak, it's fundamental. But okay, some listeners might be thinking, does this mean IQ is irrelevant now? Forget cognitive ability. What's the balance?
Ah, good point. Critical clarification. No, it absolutely doesn't mean IQ is irrelevant. Not at
Yeah.
all. Think of it maybe like this. IQ might be what gets you in the door. It's the basic processing power, right? The cognitive foundation. But EQ, in this new landscape, that's what determines how far you actually go, how well you work with others, how resilient you are, how effectively you lead. It's like a multiplier for your IQ.
A multiplier. Okay, I
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah. So baseline intelligence is important, sure, but EQ acts as the amplifier. It turns those smarts into real-world success, especially where you need collaboration and adaptability. It shifts the focus from just what you know to how you apply what you know with and through other people.
And this isn't just theory, right? We have actual evidence, numbers, like the American Express example. They did EQ training for financial advisors, people whose success really hinges on client relationships and sales. And what happened was pretty remarkable. The advisors who got the E-Key training, their sales jumped by up to 20%.
20%. And the source points out that was significantly more than the company average. So it wasn't just a small bump. It was a substantial, measurable boost to the bottom line. And it came directly from developing skills like, well, empathy, self-awareness in client meetings, better relationship management. They weren't just better sellers. They were better at genuinely connecting and understanding what their clients needed.
That's a fantastic example. A direct ROI on what seems like an intangible skill. But it gets even more compelling, doesn't it, when you look broader? That Sheffield University study, for instance, 10 years, tracking over 100 small and medium UK businesses.
That's a really significant piece of research, longitudinal. And the findings really underline this whole point. It concluded that people management was 3 times as important as research and development in improving productivity and profitability.
3 times R&D.
And 6 times as important as business strategy.
Wow. Okay, hold on. 6 times more important than business strategy. For a lot of leaders, that probably sounds, well, almost heretical. We're always taught innovation and strategy are the absolute pillars. So how does people management outperform them so drastically over a decade? What exactly is that covering?
Right, and that's where the nuance is key. People management here wasn't just about, like, HR admin. It was about effective leadership, resolving conflict, building a positive culture, giving good feedback, understanding motivation, well-being. Essentially, it's applied high EQ within the organization.
Okay, so the practical application.
Exactly. The study suggests that even the most brilliant strategy or the coolest R&D project, it'll just flounder if the people executing it are disengaged or poorly managed or working in a low-trust environment. Imagine you have this visionary strategy, but the team is full of conflict, morale is low, communication is broken. It's like, having a race car engine, but nobody can drive it properly or keeps breaking down. The Sheffield study shows powerfully that investing in your people, creating an environment where they feel understood, valued, empowered, that's not just soft stuff. It's a direct, potent driver of productivity and profit, more potent even than strategy or R&D alone.
Those numbers are just striking. And your analogy really hits home. It highlights how these seemingly intangible skills have very real bottom-line value. It's about creating an environment where people flourish and then the business flourishes, a direct link. It really forces a rethink of leadership priorities, doesn't it?
It really does. And to help us break down emotional intelligence even further, give it a practical shape, we should bring in Daniel Goleman. He's the U.S. science journalist turned consultant, background in psychology. He was just instrumental in popularizing EQ back in the mid-90s. Took it out of purely academic discussions and made it accessible, especially for business leaders who are starting to see these kinds of results themselves. He gave it a language.
Right, Goleman.
Yeah.
And he didn't just popularize it. He gave us that clear, actionable framework. He broke EQ down into 5 key elements, super helpful for understanding and, maybe more importantly, developing it. So first, there's self-awareness, knowing your own emotions, strengths, weaknesses, values, goals, and crucially, their impact on others, your internal compass.
Foundational.
Then number 2 is self-regulation, managing your emotional states, your impulses, like the leader who stays calm in a crisis, doesn't just react, controls the response.
Crucial under pressure.
Third is motivation. Goleman talks about this inner drive, optimism, perseverance, striving for improvement despite setbacks. The engine, really.
That resilience factor.
Fourth, and this is a big one, empathy. Understanding and genuinely sharing the feelings of others. Not just sympathy, but really putting yourself in their shoes, getting their perspective, like a manager sensing team stress.
Seeing the world through their eyes.
And finally, number 5, social skills. This is broader things like influence, communication, conflict management, leadership, building rapport. Basically, navigating the social world effectively, from one-on-one chats to leading big teams.
Right. So those 5, self-awareness, self-regulation, motivation, empathy, and social skills, they give you the whole picture.
It's a really powerful framework. What I find fascinating, if I had to pick one, is how often self-regulation links to effective leadership. That pause, that choice and response. It's transformative. Which of these do you think might listeners find most challenging or maybe most surprisingly impactful if they develop it?
That's a great question. And it probably links back to that new benchmark idea. I mean, social skills, empathy, we talk about those a lot. But I suspect self-awareness might be both the trickiest and maybe the most profound. It demands real introspection, facing your own biases, your triggers, being cruelly honest with yourself about what you're feeling and why. It's easy to think you're self-aware, but really knowing how your internal state affects your external actions. like realizing you're stressed about something else is making you sound harsh in a meeting. Mastering that internal world is often the key to navigating the external one effectively.
That's a great insight, that foundational internal work. Okay, but let's address the skeptics. Some people listening who are sharp might be thinking, okay, this emotional intelligence sounds a bit like old wine in new bottles. Haven't we always talked about getting along with people, good interpersonal skills? It's a fair point.
It is a fair challenge, and that's why this distinction offered by Tim Sparrow from Buckled Associates is so important. He highlights what he calls a crucial difference that sets EQ apart from just, older ideas of people skills.
Okay, so what's the difference according to Sparrow?
Well, Sparrow points out that historically, soft skills training was only about interpersonal intelligence relating to others. It focused outward, learning social niceties, communication techniques. But the core distinction, the thing that makes EQ more potent, is that emotional intelligence involves intrapersonal skills knowing yourself as well. It's this added dimension, the deep dive into self-knowledge, self-management. That's the real game changer.
Okay, so it's the internal piece plus the external piece.
Exactly. It's the understanding that you can't really effectively manage or understand others if you don't first manage and understand yourself.
And that's the really profound implication, isn't it? You can't be truly interpersonally intelligent, can't genuinely relate well if you don't recognize feelings in yourself first. It's like trying to steer a ship without knowing how to read your own instruments.
Wow.
That self-awareness, that self-regulation, that enable the empathy and the effective interaction. It connects the inner world to outer effectiveness. Makes it much deeper than just being good with people or having charm. It's about genuine impact. So as we wrap up this deep dive, it's really clear our understanding of valuable skills has shifted massively. We've moved beyond just focusing on technical know-how, though, yeah, that's still important. But we're embracing this incredible amplifying power of emotional intelligence. We've seen its real impact boosting sales significantly at Amex through better connection, being 6 times more crucial than strategy for productivity in those UK businesses, creating environments where people thrive. It's fundamentally about understanding yourself and genuinely connecting with others. It transforms professional paths, enriches personal lives. It's the human element really amplified.
Absolutely. And that leads us to a final thought, maybe a question for you, the listener, to mull over. Given this clear, compelling evidence of EQ's impact everywhere, how might deliberately focusing on cultivating just one of Goleman's 5 elements, maybe working on true self-awareness or perhaps practicing deeper empathy, how might that not only boost your own professional effectiveness and personal fulfillment, but also potentially spark a positive chain reaction in your team, your family, your community? It's a skill set that genuinely seems to redefine what success and connection look like in this new century.
Thank you for joining us for this deep dive into the right skills for the new century. We really hope you walk away with a fresh perspective, maybe some actionable insights for your own journey. We'll catch you next time.